competitive pricing, it really is one of the 4 different P's that we've talked about previously, and it really is a big component. When you create something, is it a blockbuster deal? Is it everyday low pricing? There's actually multiple different ways to plan your pricing. It's a big deal. It helps define you as a product, as to where you're at in the spectrum of quality versus maybe just quantity, between the two things. It helps define in your mind or the mind of the customer exactly what they're dealing with. One example, there's a beer called Miller High Life Beer. On the East Coast, it used to be a cheap beer, and then they wanted to sit down and expand their market, and they came to the West Coast many years ago. They decided to rebrand them as the champagne of bottled beers. Well, all of a sudden, they jacked up their price over 20%. Huge. They went from being highly competitive price with a mediocre flavor, mediocre brand, and same formula, they brought it over to the West Coast. They changed the entire image to being the champagne of bottled beers and raised the price, and all of a sudden it became valuable. They made a lot more money because they defined themselves by their pricing structure. When we talk about pricing, that really helps define in the customer's mind what they want to do. It helps us decide, first of all, a return on investment. It helps build traffic, and sometimes there's different segments of the traffic you're appealing to. You can achieve greater market share, or sometimes just focus in on a specific niche in your market share, and creates an image in the mind of the customer. I'm buying this because, and it furthers social objectives that you may have. You want to look at multiple different ways. One is cost-based pricing, which is where you're looking at the cost that it takes to actually produce the product, or demand-based is to how much it takes to satisfy the customers. If you're a really large organization with a lot of cash on hand, just in case things go awry, you can always sit down there and lowball the price also for a period of time and actually take a small loss in it, sitting down looking to gain market share. And you'll see a lot of large companies wading into a new market. They lowball the price. They drop the price lower than the current market, destroy the competitors in the process, and then take over market share as it comes down to it. So you look at different strategies as to what the different pricing really comes around. So there's a lot of different ways that retailers around the world, they look for bargain hunting customers as they come around. You have competition-based pricing, where you have price leadership. You want to be outstanding because of the fact you have such a fabulous deal in the process. You always have to make certain you look on the break-even analysis. By break even, it's that magic point where revenue matches the cost that you have. On the cost, you have to sit down and figure out your total fixed cost, and then for that you have to operate on, and then the variable cost, which is the cost that you charge for each unit of production. So on that break-even rate, here's the official formula. If you have competitive pricing, the fixed cost of $200,000, $2 per item, you sell your product for $4 each, what would be your break-even point? It's a simple calculation by the time you're all done. But that being said, you have to sit down and figure that out, because each product you sell, you should have a calculation as to exactly what is your break-even point. It's a magic time as to, wow, I did it. And especially when you're an entrepreneur, you're 20% over, all of a sudden, you realize you have a chance of making it. As soon as you hover around that break-even point, most entrepreneurs are sweating bullets, hoping that they're going to break even and go above. So different kind of pricing. Other ones, you have a skimming pricing strategy where a new product is priced really high for optimal profit. You have a penetration strategy where it's priced low to attract many customers and discourage competition. Or you have a philosophy of everyday low pricing, making yourself a bargain store as you go through the whole aspect. Sometimes you have a mixture of pricing. Let me give you an example. Trader Joe's, they traditionally have some of the lowest priced eggs you could possibly imagine. Typically, they're pricing them at cost, and I believe sometimes they're pricing them below cost, except they hide them in the back of the store. You go into your front door of your Trader Joe's, you go in, I want this, I want this, I want this. You got 3 items, and by the time you wander around the store trying to get to the eggs, You have 17 items in your cart, and the eggs, yeah, they might lose 30 cents on the eggs, but they made it on picking up on all the other things you have to walk past in the process. So you have sometimes a variety of pricing as you come through. You also have a high-low pricing strategy, setting prices that are higher and actually discount low price for stores, okay, but many special sales as you come through. You also have psychological pricing. A lot of times $2.99 is out there, or $3.99. The 99 cents, it depends on the perception of the customer. Strangely enough, a study was conducted. When you get on your cell phone and you see somebody or see an item that's priced at $2.99, the tendency of the person that's viewing it is that it's $2, not $3. It's even though it's 1 cent shy of $3. When you have 2 or more items on your cell phone and it's $2.99, you have a tendency to round it up to 3. Figure that one out. Don't know what it is, but it really is part of the psychology of pricing, which means if you're a $2.99er, you want to sit down and make sure you gobble up the entire screen and you can't comparison shop if you can pull that off. So that being said, different strategies. Sometimes you want to have a high-end pricing, like the illustration of the Miller High Life beer. You always want to sit down and shoot for the moon and reduce it. There actually is a strategy out there called the long tail strategy, where you have a high price item and you're going after a teeny tiny niche market that's sitting there looking for customizable goods. Low volume, high price, you can make as much money as high volume, low price in the process as you're going through the thing. So when it comes to competitive pricing, the market forces, they affect a lot of it. Depends on the audience that you're going after and what you're looking to. Also, there's a non-price competition to look at to include with your overall image, your product images, comfort, style, convenience, all the things you have. Competitive pricing, the consumer is ever aware of pricing. They pay attention, never suspect that the consumer is dumb in the process. They're smart, they're looking for a good deal all the time, and sometimes they're willing to pay more if they see the value proposition that you as a business is bringing to the market. And how you price determines access, and at some level, the quality perception. Pricing has an impact on the market penetration and also the distribution channel pathway that the vendor chooses to use. Take care.